Hi guys, it's Michael. I wanted to make a quick video about how I go about fertilizing and watering my orchids. This is specific to semi-hydroponics, so I fertilize every time I water, unless of course I'm going through a disinfecting process, and I will recap that in another video. This is going to be minimal and simple and to the point, so let's go in closer and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, my friends, so I've already gotten the process started a bit. I've filled about a quarter of my watering can, which is a capacity of about a gallon, with tepid water. You want to use tepid water because they're tropical plants. They're going to want water that isn't too cold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Grow More orchid food. This is my go-to. It's really simple. It's very basic. It's a balanced orchid fertilizer, and it does recommend you give them 1 teaspoon per every gallon. And what does it say on the directions? And it recommends doing it every 10 days or every 2 weeks. I do weekly. So every single time I water, I'm going to fertilize. So rather than doing the recommended 1 teaspoon, I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm just going to take a little 1/4 teaspoon measurement. I'm going to do a nice level scoop. And then from there, what I'm going to do is just drop it right in here. You can mix it however you prefer. I like to make sure that it's fully incorporated into the small amount of water first and then add more water. You just got to make sure it's fully dissolved so it doesn't kind of result in that salt buildup. Gonna go ahead and stir it in. And I'll put a link to the Grow More food in the bottom of the description. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and top off my water with some more tepid water. All right, guys, I've got my fertilized water all set. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I aim my aeration holes. We'll start with my Banfield. This is the Mystic Maze, but I will go ahead and make sure that the aeration holes are facing the sink, of course, because otherwise you'll have a mess on your hands. And you're going to flush the water through the entire system. So make sure you're not just filling the reservoir. You want to kind of make sure that there's enough momentum behind the water to flush any debris, any random things, any rot through the pot and out the bottom. And that's what that looks like. So I just give it a little drop off, make sure that the reservoir is got a fair amount of water to continue pulling from, and that's how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with my Phragmipedium here. But again, enough momentum to flush it, because actually before I do this, I'll take you in closer. You can see I tried a layer of sphagnum moss and I wasn't crazy about it. So you can see some literal lingering pieces of debris in there that I want to flush down towards the bottom. But also, this one is still acclimating to semi-hydroponics, so I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you go in close, there is just a bit of mold accumulating right on the top of the roots. So any decaying matter can get flushed out so long as you are using enough momentum to push it out. So let's go ahead with this guy. And you have to be cautious because the leca beads do float, so if you are using a too spacious of a container, they'll all come running up and then your plant will just kind of float out. So just be careful about that part, but that is what that process looks like. All right, here's another great example. We got in close on this guy and you can see this is still adapting to semi-hydroponics. So it's got some mold growing right on the root itself. But on the flip side, here's the trade-off. It is growing, you can see just the sweetest little nubbin right there. It is growing some new roots that are going to be better equipped for the system. But as it rots, we want to make sure that it's getting flushed out. So same process here. Just a swift flush of water. And we are good to go. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, comment, or subscribe to my channel if you have any questions or concerns.